So recasting is really the process of taking the business and showing the buyer what the business would have looked like in the buyer's hands. So recasting means you add back your discretionary expenses, things like your car, your truck, the home office. You also add back any non-recurring expenses. For example, business owner hires a consultant to come in and show them how to grow the value of the business. That's a discretionary professional fee, and that can be recast. Finally, any extraordinary expenses. Good example of this is a lot of business owners during the year of COVID had to spend a lot of money buying PPE, personal protective equipment. Those types of expenses, because they're extraordinary, can also be recast in your financials. Again, the goal here is to stop looking at your business through the eyes of a business owner, look at them through the eyes of a business seller, and translate that to what the buyer is buying. One of the things that business owners miss when they're trying to do their own pro formas is they think they need to customize the pro formas to the buyer that they're speaking to. That's a huge mistake because you can never guess. You can never estimate either what resources that buyer actually has or what resources the buyer has that they're willing to allocate to the opportunity that your business presents. The most important thing to do when you're doing your pro formas is to put a credible documented future in front of the buyers, one that you could achieve. And as you go through the process, make sure you're hitting your marks so that you get the value you deserve. Buyers want to buy a credible documented future. The credibility comes from outside sources. So we've talked about recasting and the need to have a quality of earnings report. That provides credibility for your historical financials. As far as for the projections out in the future, you really do need to have some market research and analysis that's going to inform and support the pro formas. Some business owners make the mistake of preparing their projections out first and then trying to go back and re-engineer some data to support them. That's a huge mistake. Buyers see through that. You've got to go out and get good market research and analysis from a credible firm, a firm that has credibility with buyers, and use that to support and inform the pro formas that you create. When I think of a business owner who really got it right, I immediately think of David Carnahan. David had an unsolicited offer from a much larger business for his company. He engaged Generational in the process. Generational brought additional buyers. They really used the power of the limited auction to get David way, way more from the original buyer than what the original buyer actually offered. So there's a perfect example of a business owner using the proper process and doing it at the right time to get way more for his company than he thought he could get. So intangibles are incredibly important, obviously, and some of the obvious intangibles would be your employees, your customer list, your location, things like that. But sometimes business owners may have proprietary methods or data or systems that they may overlook. One really important intangible that many business owners underestimate the value of is the owner, him or herself. You're going to have to stay for a neat and orderly transition period because you're such a significant asset of the business, and the buyer wants to make sure that they capture all of that value.